guys, welcome back to my channel, or if you're new here, hi, my name is Vanessa and I like to talk about books. Today I'm doing a video that my best friend Rebecca from Rebecca Reads gave me the idea for, so it's only right to credit her with the idea. I don't know where she came up with this, but I'm really loving it. And I'm gonna do a Halloween type video, and I'm gonna be talking to you about my dream Halloween TBR. So what I mean by this is I don't necessarily own all of these books. Not all of these books are actually out able to buy at the moment. Some of them aren't published until next year, but I'm looking at books that if I had all the money in the world and I had all the availability of these books, these would be the dream books that I would sit and read on the lead up to Halloween. I'm going to be honest, what initially prompted this video idea I think was because I was telling Rebecca about how I feel like I haven't actually read that many good Halloween books that I could do a recommendation for. I did put a poll out on Twitter where I asked what people wanted to see. Everybody said a Halloween themed video, and then I was sat looking over the 400 books that I've read on Goodreads, and generally I haven't really read many good horror, thriller or mystery books, and they are sort of like the staples of the Halloween season. So I've got on Goodreads, I've had a look at mysteries, paranormal, horror, thrillers, and I'm going to be talking to you about which ones I would love to read. Hopefully you get some ideas if you are struggling as well, like me, to think about what you want to read at this time. Hopefully this gives you some ideas. I will be using my laptop for this, so sorry that I'm not looking at the camera a lot. I need to read the synopsis of Goodreads. So the first one I'm going to be talking about is by Christina Henry, and that is The Ghost Tree. This was published on the 8th of September, so this is a pretty new book, but it does have quite a lot of ratings already. I've read quite a few Christina Henry books and I've really enjoyed them. They're mainly around retellings of fairy tales, which is how I mainly have found this author. This book is about two girls that go missing in this town called Smith's Hollow, already Halloween vibes, and another girl who is the main character starts having visions about a monster killing them and starts to follow up this lead with her brother. But mainly people comment on how it's a female coming of age novel, which I really like, which also has a horror and mystery element. So it sounds very unique. I can't wait to get around to reading this, but this probably will be a book I'll be buying next year for Halloween. The next one is a book that is not published until August next year, so it'll be a perfect one for next Halloween, and that is The Dead in the Dark, which honestly the cover just grabbed me straight away on this one, and this is how I came to find out about it. This is an LGBT paranormal fantasy horror book, and this is someone's debut novel, so congratulations on it getting published. In this book, teenagers in the town are starting to disappear and some of them are coming up dead. The main character's partner goes missing, and a family who are paranormal investigators on TV turn up into town, and the daughter of the paranormal investigators gets a very bad vibe. Kinda hoping that maybe that's where the romance is in this novel, because that would be cool, and they team up to try and solve what's going on, but it's linked to ghosts and the paranormal. The next one is also a book that doesn't come out till next year, but this one is coming out in March. I have mentioned this on this channel before in the video where I was talking about sapphic novels that are coming out in 2021 that I'm really looking forward to reading. So please, Alison Salt, I would love it if you would sneak me a copy of this book. This is Down Comes the Night, and this is described as a gothic romance LGBT horror, but I honestly think you can't turn down a good gothic novel around Halloween time. The synopsis of this book does read a little bit oldie worldy. The main character is Ren, and she's a healer in the Queen's Guard, which sort of gives me like very much set in fantasy vibes. Her superior asks her to go to an estate to cure his servants from a mysterious disease. However, once she is at this hole, she is then trapped there and is not able to leave. And in this hole, it is described that there's monsters within. I don't know what it is about this book, but I'm very excited about this. Arcs have been out for this book, and it does currently have a rating of 4.3 on Goodreads, which is pretty good. So the next one is also recently out, and it is The Devil in the Dark Water, which is the second book by Stuart Turton, whose debut novel was The 7 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle, which I think is also known as The 7.5 Deaths in certain countries. So The 7.5 Deaths of Evelyn Hardcastle I read this year, and it's one of my favourite books of the year so far, which actually would make another great read for Halloween, so there's another suggestion for you. That one is more of a crime mystery. This one seems to be more of a thriller, but it's definitely been on my radar since reading his debut novel. This book is set in 1634. The world's greatest detective is being transported to Amsterdam to be executed for a crime he may or may not have committed. However, things start turning up dead on the boat, and there are strange symbols etched into the sails, and then he is marked for death. Could it be a demon responsible for their misfortunes? wow. If this is anything like his debut novel, I'm expecting a lot from this book and to be truly thrilled by this. You know what, I'm actually going to go on Amazon right now and buy this book. It sounds too good. Next we have a book that I've been truly dying to get my hands on. This is another one that I'm probably just going to order off Amazon right now, add it to my basket with the other one. And that's Ninth House by Leigh Bardugo. I really enjoy books by Leigh Bardugo. It's surprising that I haven't actually bought this already. This came out last October. I'm really hoping that the paperback comes out soon so I can get it. A lot of people have been saying that this is one of their favourite dark academia books, which is another thing that Halloween just gives me pure vibes for. Honestly, I've read the synopsis and I can't grasp really what is in this book. What I gathered is that the main character is a sole survivor of a homicide, and when she is in hospital she's given the opportunity to attend a very prestigious university. There's some occult stuff going on. But I did ask you all, what's your favourite dark academia, and this is what they came up with, and that's why I'm wanting to read it. The next one is a book that I actually now own. It is recently out this year, so I might actually get around to reading this one. And this is Mexican Gothic, which is set in 1950s Mexico. In this one, the main character is drawn to a family home by a mysterious letter. And when she turns up, she's starting to unravel the family's history. The genres attached to this are Gothic, mystery, fantasy, and thriller. I absolutely love Gothic thrillers for this season. And I haven't read that many books set in Mexico either, which is another reason why I wanted to get around to reading this one. If I had to pick one book that's been on my radar for absolutely years around the Halloween season, but I've never actually got around to reading it, is House of Leaves. This is very frequently on the list of the best horrors of all time, once you get through the Stephen King stuff, that is. I believe American Horror Story Roanoke took some inspiration from this novel. It does seem to be the typical American horror, which is a family purchases a new house and the house isn't all that they seem and it's paranormal. It's stereotypical, but I love it. And not a lot of films truly creep me out, but ones like with that setting really do. The Conjuring was just my worst nightmare come to life. So I have really been meaning to get around to reading this one. The reason I've really been leaving it is because I'd love to find a secondhand copy, but one Halloween I will sit and I will read this book. Next is The Year of the Witching, and this also came out this year. This book has so many good reviews already. A lot of people are saying it's dark, atmospheric, moody, but very feminist at the same time. And it seems to be sort of like an oldie worldy struggle between witches and religion. I feel like witch books are the new vampire books. I'm very much sick of vampires, and I feel like a lot of people are after about, you know, the vampire revival about 10 years ago. But I'm very, very, very much into witches at the moment. If you're not watching Hocus Pocus on Halloween, I don't know what you're doing. So this is definitely one on my radar as well. So with this one, we're going back to typical, traditional, good old spooky Halloween movie, and that is The Exorcist, which surprisingly has over a 4-star rating on Goodreads despite nearly having 200,000 ratings. That's really impressive. This is truly a horror classic, and really, really old too. I've seen the film multiple times, but I would love to read about it in book form as well. This is a story about a young girl who is possessed, and they're basically trying to give her an exorcism. There's not much more to it than that, so I'm surprised that this book is nearly 400 pages long. Maybe the film just leaves out a lot of detail. I truly think this would be an excellent read for Halloween. If you don't have time to read the book, definitely watch the film. The next one is a book that came out last year, and that's Gideon The Ninth. I haven't read this, so I don't know how much this would fit with the theme of Halloween, but it looks like skeletons and bones, and it's attached to the genre of horror, although it is LGBT. This book has very high ratings on Goodreads. There is so many 5-star reviews. The main character seems to be a reanimated corpse, and they are a necromancer. And a lot of the reviews say this book is mainly about necromancy, death magic, blood, gore. That on one hand it's an adventure story, but on the other it's a murder mystery, which kind of sounds a bit like Crescent City, and I loved that there was 2 layers of plot going on there. So this seems pretty good. Do I buy this one too? And the last one, for all I just said about vampires and trash talk and them, this one is a throwback to that era. It's a book that I've never read, but I've wanted to read since it came out in 2013, and that is The Coldest Girl in Cold Town by Holly Black. And mainly just because I want to read more Holly Black. This is a standalone book, and in this world vampires are known, respected, feared. They exist. But a lot of people comment that this is definitely an original take on the vampire genre. For nostalgia's sake, I may pick this up in the future if I can find it secondhand. So that's it. That is my dream Halloween TBR. That is, if I had these books right now, I would sit and read them this week and be chuffed to bits. This was actually really fun because I got the joy of window shopping for books. Yes, I maybe ended up buying a few, but it was nice to get excited about books that are coming out in the future as well. If you'd like to see me do my dream Christmas TBR, please give this video a thumbs up and let me know in the comments. Let me know what you would recommend to someone for Halloween, or if you've read any of these books, and let me know what you think. Were they good? Were they bad? Thank you for watching and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!